Do we get to talk about gold again? Because
Yes.
I don't think we've had Tim Smith on for several months, and I'd love to think that we could catch up with him.
The
Fantastic.
CEO of U.S. Goldmining Inc., of course, their ticker symbol is USGO, and we welcome him back to the Big Fish Show. It's been a long time. Tim, happy holidays. How are you?
Happy holidays to you and yours as well. I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's have a chat about catching us up on what you guys have going on there with U.S. Goldmining, because and then I want to talk about top line, the gold as a whole. But what are you guys up to? How's it going there?
Yeah, look, we've been working really hard this year. You know, there's still a lot of value to be found in the gold equities market, and you know, we've seen some good growth over the year, but we certainly still believe we're very undervalued. We have one of the largest undeveloped gold, copper, silver deposits in North America, which is currently not owned by a mid-tier or senior mining company. And if you look at the map, you know, Whistler sits really close to Anchorage, which is Alaska's main population center, of course. So, you know, we have that location advantage. And further to that, the state wants to build a road, an access road linking the Whistler deposit to Alaska's main industrial port. So we have a huge location and infrastructure advantage. We have an amazing deposit. We're getting ready to move forward with an initial economic assessment. That's also sometimes known as a PEA, a preliminary economic assessment. It's a preliminary review of economic factors on a potential mining opportunity at Whistler, and the timing could not be any better with gold around $4,000 per ounce and copper now above $5 a pound.
You know, I was going to bring up. I heard, and maybe you that said it to us at one point. If you've got a gold mine, you've also got a copper mine. I think somebody mentioned that at some point because the tailings. But is the Whistler Gold Project, is that a copper project, or is that a gold project, or is that more gold intensive and just has more copper in it?
You know, we like to say that we have the trifecta of metals right now that are doing extremely well. You know, we have gold, copper, and silver. By value, gold is worth about 70%, 70 of the value. So primarily, we consider ourselves a gold project, but we have 1 billion pounds of copper. That makes up about 28%, and then we have, you know, a measly 24 million ounces of silver, which really only contributes about 2% by value. But you know, each and every one of those commodities is doing extremely well. Gold is at a record high. Silver is now at a record high. Copper is getting up there as well.
Tim Smith is the CEO of U.S. Goldmining Inc. Ticker symbol is USGO.
Tim, you know, real quickly, we've talked about this before, how gold, you know, there's a lot of arguments how gold's ahead against inflation. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. You guys are out of fashion for a while. Now gold's back in fashion, and now we're all-time highs. You know, if we look at this as not a commodity, but as an equity market, let's say if you look at GLD, the exchange traded fund, which is a stock, you know, that looks at a basket of gold stocks. Is there room to run here? Because look, the economy, which I like to say that was shut off like a light switch, came back like a sunrise. It's, you know, we're seeing the signs of rate cuts. We're seeing the signs of recovery here. I mean, I think we're still a couple of years away from completed. But does that bode well for gold at this point? Because I seem to think that gold is now ignoring the economic factors and is just a good investment, like it used to be pre-stock market days, where it wasn't just a hedge against inflation. It was actual it was part of your asset. Do you agree with me on that, how things have changed a bit in your favor?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think it's important to have gold as part of your personal investment portfolio now. And there's one very big factor, probably the most important factor at play in terms of why gold price is soaring. You know, we're seeing essentially a battle between the world's major economies for the world's resources right now. You know, the geopolitical landscape is unprecedented. And few commodities have proven to be more timeless or more strategic than gold. You know, gold flew past $3,000 an ounce early this year, and then to our amazement, it caught a second wind in August to climb above 4,000, and it seems to be building a new base there. Can it go higher? Well, I think it can, because the underlying driver behind the rising gold price is the buying by central banks globally, and in particular across the BRICS countries, who are trying to move away from, you know, their dependency on the US dollar. As as the BRICS nations can continue to add to their gold reserves, what we're seeing, and these are numbers actually just reported yesterday by the Northern Miner, BRICS countries have increased gold's share of their total reserves by 102% since 2020. And during that same period, Western nations have seen only a 12% increase. And that growth is almost entirely attributable to price appreciation rather than actually acquiring and storing gold bullion. So yeah, I think there's with that continued buying by those BRICS countries as they try to shift away from the US dollar reserves. I think there's certainly continued. There's going to be continued buying. It's going to put continued pressure, upward pressure on the gold price, because at the same time, globally, we're seeing a generally shrinking gold reserve.
Tim, you're not out there with the pan stooped over a stream. I'm sure that technology is.
I have done that.
Okay. But I'm sure technology has helped you by leaps and bounds, maybe even AI. Have those made your job easier?
We're not really using AI right now.
Okay.
We're waiting, I think, to see that there's a lot of companies out there trying to develop artificial intelligence in terms of managing the massive data sets that we have in exploration and mining to be able to cut through to really undertake critical analysis faster.
Okay.
No one's really coming out on top there. We use the everyday tools like everybody does, the chat GPTs and so on, just to help for searching and so on. But in terms of the core business, pretty much business as usual right now, but keenly watching and waiting to see if one of those developers makes a breakthrough. And then, I think you'll see a seismic shift internally within our industry in terms of new discoveries.
Tim, what's next for you guys coming up for 2026 in terms of what you can tell us? Obviously, as a CEO of a public traded company, you can only tell us so much. But what are you looking most forward to here over the first quarter, then into the remaining months of 2026?
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned that we're working on our PEA, our preliminary economic assessment. We want to get that completed by the end of the first quarter in 2026. So we're then well set up for the remainder of the year, heading into the summer field season. We really want to take advantage of what I would refer to as the Alaska advantage right now. The tailwinds, both in terms of state policy, but also in particular coming out of Washington over the last 9 months, have been exactly the opposite of what we've seen in the past 30 years. We're seeing productive and constructive policy towards mining. It's really contributing now towards the rally in mining stocks. We want to catch that wind. So we're accelerating the development of that study, that preliminary economic assessment on a base case mining opportunity for Whistler. We want to get moving forward with that in 2026. And in parallel, we want to keep exploring because we believe there's a lot more gold, copper, silver to be found on our property. So watch the space for an announcement about the mining metrics around a base case mining opportunity at Whistler. But also, continue to keep an eye out for announcements around our exploration ventures in terms of new targets and new discoveries coming up.
Tim Smith, CEO, U.S. Goldmining, Inc., ticker symbol USGO. Tim, always appreciate the time. Happy holidays. Thank you very much.